we're back here at the GSL Codex. Huck is going down to the losers section. It was kind of an interesting series, actually.
Yeah, that first game was really interesting.
Not like a PvZ that we see from this era right now.
No, it certainly is
totally
not.
On both sides, strats they're using.
Yeah, 8 gates are out of style, man. When they get scouted,
it's an
you can't win with
anachronistic
them,
build,
really.
yeah. And, you know, the cool strat by Sniper in game 1, that was a lot of fun, too.
All right, so we're going to go into game, or set number 2, rather.
TBT.
And it's going to be TBT, Bomber against GuMiho. It's a hard one to call. Macro against multitasking.
Yeah, actually, that's exactly what this is. This is macro against multitasking. Now, Bomber was all the rage.
Yeah.
Or rave, is that which one's the correct one? All the rave or all the rage?
All the rage.
It's all the rage? All right. Had to make sure. He was huge, man, last year.
Yeah, I mean, he was something else, man. He was a great
incredible.
top-end player. We thought he was going to win a GSL.
It was like Ghost-like when you'd watch him play. It didn't seem like it would seem like a supercomputer or something.
Yeah.
And
fell off a little bit in 2012, and here we are in 2013. He's trying to come back.
Yeah, and he's still good, but he's no longer in the limelight as much.
That is true, but he's still got the skills to pay the bills, Staceless.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's still a great macro player. Now, I'm really interested because he's going to go Marine Tank. That's what Bomber does, okay? He goes Marine Tank because he can make like a bajillion more Marines than most people. But GuMiho is someone that uses a huge variety of strategies.
Well, GuMiho's got his own way of playing the game and his own way of harassing his opponent.
He mechs a lot. He invented Hellion Viking openings, basically, in the modern era. He does a lot of different things, and he does do Marine Tank from time to time. So we'll see what he wants to go for.
We call him the Totalitarian because he always wears, doesn't wear, he always has a little cloth over his mouse.
Yeah. He has hyperhidrosis, which...
and sweaty palms.
Yeah, he's palms sweat a whole lot, and he does not want to have his hand slip off the mouse, so he uses that towel a lot.
And clearly it does not impede on his ability to be good.
No, and it's so funny because he's so fast, and having a towel over the mouse doesn't seem like you'd be a multitasking Terran. It seems like you'd be like a macro Terran or something.
No, I know. If I had never seen anything like this before, I would probably say, no, you can never. Of course, you can never play with the towel over your mouse. Yeah. I would just assume it right away. But
look at this. He's got 7 Codesses, and they're all in a row.
Yeah.
And that actually means that if he does this whole year in Code S, he gets an ST award. That's pretty sick.
Now, we're going to see the map in a moment here, but Bomber, GuMiho, remember the loser faces off against Huck, the winner against Sniper. I do think Sniper has the best chance of getting out of this group, so
yeah.
I think there's a high chance that, nobody's going to have it easy in this group. Actually, not even Sniper for that matter. All right, the map is going to be Whirlwind. This should be a pretty long Terran versus Terran. TBT on Whirlwind could definitely be a kind of war of attrition. It's going to be sick. Artosis, your predictions?
GuMiho 2-1.
I got to agree. I think it's going to be GuMiho 2-1, but we'll see. All right, it's time, guys. Bomber against GuMiho. And set number 2 here at the GSL Codex. In the upper right, we have Macro Beast. He is.
Started, vamos.
And in the upper left, we have a multitasking monster. He is.
FX GuMiho.
I'm sorry, go ahead, please.
I'm really excited, actually, to see how these two are going to match up right now, because when I think of the way they play, oh, look at that. It's a little family.
It's a little family.
He's hiding behind his baby. I use my baby as a shield, too. No one's going to hit a baby, Tasteless.
No, man, of course.
All right, so... looks like we're going to have some Command Center first action from both players.
It's interesting to see that for winter prediction, Bomber beat GuMiho.
Bomber's
He's more
still
of
a
a
huge
fan
fan favorite. Yeah, this
Yeah.
is the guy that like in like the first battle where his 3 Marines beat your 2 Marines, he drops a mule on you
Yeah.
to show off. He's like, I got you now. It's like, you have 1 more Marine than me. How can you do this? You know, he's
I
definitely.
remember Bomber nuking himself constantly in some match I was casting.
yeah.
Then it got close again. And I'm like, whoa, Bomber, better chill out, man.
Yeah. He's like, bombs you away.
I'm bombing myself.
No. That's why you call me your bomber. All right, so GuMiho actually followed up Command Center first with gas first, whereas Bomber goes into double racks, and this is very indicative of who they are. Bomber, again, he's going to go Marine tank. He always does. GuMiho, on the other hand, going to tech up very quickly. He wants some of those tech units, whether he's going to go to Cloak Banshee or possibly right into Vikings with
Hellions.
Yeah, Hellions could be.
Sure.
Could be Viking tank because that's like the safest set of units in the early game. You can basically stop anything.
That's what you turn into StarCraft 1. Like,
Yeah. It's like a
Wraith siege tank.
Wraith in a siege
Yeah.
tank, yeah, and you're like, well, nothing can kill me right now.
you know, those StarCraft 1, those Korean pros with micro the mutas?
Yeah.
Like J-Dong. And you can see people that would start to do it with Wraiths.
Yeah.
Could you actually do that with Wraiths?
Yeah, I wasn't the best at it, but I practiced it a lot. The insane Wraith
But I
micro.
with my insane Scout micro that I never got to use.
Scouts were fun.
They were fun.
But no, those Wraith builds were really, really fun. All right, so Marine going to chase away that SCV. So Bomber isn't going to know exactly what GuMiho's doing unless he does a scan. And it looks like GuMiho is going straight into Reactor Hellions. Not a bad choice at all. Bomber, on the other hand, going into a 3rd command center, which is actually against another command center first build. All the tech of GuMiho is going to be slower, so even scary like Banshee attacks and stuff are going to be slow enough that getting that 3rd command center shouldn't be too risky for him, really.
Sure.
As long as he's very careful about everything, he should be all right.
All right, he's going to go over the Hellions here. It's possible that Barracks is going to be used to make a tech lab.
Yeah,
But we'll see. I mean,
might want
it could be even for a reactor or something. There's a lot of different things you could do here.
Well, he does grab that tech lab, as you were
so
saying.
he's probably going to get some Banshees.
Yeah, and we might see a medevac as well. But I wouldn't be surprised if he goes straight into Banshee. All right, so everything looking pretty normal overall so far this game. It's going to pick up really as we see exactly how much damage GuMiho can get done with this harassment. But the thing is, he doesn't have to do too much. Because right now he's making a more cost-efficient unit selection, focusing on the higher tech units. And as long as he does a little bit of damage, then the extra command center of Bomber might not necessarily get him too far ahead.
And more Hellions coming out here now.
Cloak for
remember
GuMiho.
that since they're both at the top, they're going to be each side's going to be expanding downward, which is going to make for kind of a wonky game here. It's possible that they're going to try to do a contain on each other early on.
Could be, yeah.
It's also a weird situation where the watchtower not as useful. Or
Yeah, in these spots, it's not very
it's
useful.
not.
To be
It's
honest.
kind of a weird.
It's a little bit peripheral.
Yeah, it's
Like,
not.
It may
type or
make,
necessary.
Yeah, it may make your opponent fly further around with a drop, but that's about it.
Exactly.
So GuMiho is actually making his command center outside at his 3rd base, and that's because he sees Marines and he knows that he has map control because of his Hellions. Now he does have his Banshee coming over. Bomber, on the other hand, has 2 engineering bays, so he can easily make turrets, and of course he's starting his upgrades. Another factor in the way for GuMiho. Looks like we're probably going to see mech.
And as you can see, the Banshee is not going to do that much here for GuMiho. Bomber's already prepared. I mean, if you get Marines, that's great.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
You want to get our SCVs.
Certainly, if he can get those are great. But anything he can kill at all, as long as he doesn't lose his Banshee, he's gaining value out of it. It's an active unit which he can use to slowly but surely chip away at his opponent.
And Zemo's getting a little bit lower here.
Yeah, he might end up killing that. And
second Banshee almost there.
oh, look at
The
this.
front is a little bit exposed here.
He's got to stay away from that turret, though. Don't forget, turrets have a really big range that they can see.
Yeah, they get range you can see from them and they can shoot.
Now this is starting to stack up this damage a little bit. You know, he's doing very well. The thing is, if Bomber,
he gets those
when he gets
aliens
stim,
in the front.
that's true. He has a bunker there, but that was a funny scan time because stim is finishing in like 3 more seconds. If he had saved that, sent up a few more Marines, he may have been able to stim and run under. In which case, suddenly it's pretty good for him.
Or he scanned the double armory.
So it is mech against what is going to turn out to be Marine Marauder tank.
Pretty much what you called. And
Oh my god, that was so smooth.
yeah, that was
It didn't work, but that was like really smart. All right, so he's softened up a lot of Marines. He's killed quite a few. GuMiho's lost 1 Banshee, but he's killed off 11 SCVs and Marines. 2 SCVs, 9 Marines. So he's done a pretty good job. And a depot. Don't forget that. So both players with 3 command centers, but GuMiho actually is mining from his 3rd. The thing is, Bomber's about to get really mobile. He's about to have his medevacs out.
Yeah, his combat shields and concussive shells are about to finish, so he's probably going to move out in a few seconds here, actually. And for the time being, GuMiho has a nice little mobile contain, a soft contain on his opponent.
Yeah. And GuMiho's going to be careful, though, because when Bomber becomes super mobile and he's out on the map, then suddenly he has this big map control. And GuMiho has no tanks yet. He's really focused on Hellions with 19. In fact, he's continuing to build quite a few Hellions. So we could see him try to utilize point defense drone and kill off a lot of his opponent's Marines, but we'll see.
All right, he's starting to move out here. Smartly puts those Marauders in the front so they can slow down anything that's going to be running away. And he has siege tanks he's pumping out for now. Now, at this phase of the game, we do occasionally see 150 supply Terran pushes from mech team players.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're going to see it in this case. He's probably going to stay until he's maxed out.
Yeah.
Or maybe even 180 supply and then move out.
Unless he randomly kills a big chunk of this army, he should be waiting
now,
until at least 180.
Wow, that...
He's got to be very, very careful. He does have that Raven, which is very important.
Oh, he did have that Raven.
Well, there is a big flank here to kill a lot of Marines, but that, if he had gotten point defense thrown out, that would have been wonderful. Luckily for him, he does have these Banshees, which have been unbelievably valuable during this.
All right, he's chasing him back. It looks like just barely GuMiho's going to survive this. Yoink gets the Marauders up there.
Yeah, you know, it's too bad that he lost the Raven, but he killed off a decent amount of units and mostly just lost Hellions. So, you know, that it was definitely in Bomber's favor, but it wasn't necessarily a game ender or something.
Yeah, that was kind of like an equalizer here. Now, if you notice, Bomber's macro is not exactly superb. Just a minute ago, it was almost a 2,000. I'm just used to seeing it much, much lower.
Focusing on the micro of that battle or something.
Yeah. And now we'll see if it stays low. Keep an eye on that. So once again, it looks like a Bomber's going to move out on the map. And I think GuMiho's just going to have to wait and turtle.
Yeah, he's going to try to do some harassment during this time. Trying to go after some of these SCVs. If he can trade minerals for minerals, he's going to be in a good mood.
Absolutely.
That's what you want to do in mech against.
All right, he's going to lose a lot of SCVs, actually.
In fact, I feel like Bomber can actually make that 3rd lift up, at least. We actually have a drop going in the main and the 3rd base, as well as an attack at the front, and Bomber is everywhere. Uh-oh, that is a lot of Marauders, but the Banshees eventually could clean it all up.
All right, he's dropping inside the main, into the 3rd right now, attacking into the 2nd. Remember, the Marauders are not able to deal with these Banshees, so this will eventually be cleaned up. But
the Banshees absolutely
how many
heroic.
workers have been killed on both sides?
Well, Bomber's killed 42, whereas GuMiho's killed 25 thus far. So, I mean, Bomber's doing a really superb job here.
Wow, okay. Supplies right now, 132, 103. GuMiho, pretty crippling blow here. I mean, when you consider how many... Oh, man, even more kills over here. When you consider how many siege tanks have been killed so far for GuMiho and the fact that he's meching, he's not in good shape.
No, he's not.
At all. I mean, you're building up your meching units your tank units the entire game for that one inevitable push.
Yeah, so. This is the part where Bomber has such a tempo advantage. Like, he can just keep sending in units, and and just keep chipping away at GuMiho, because GuMiho has to actually get a solid siege chain count now.
Another attack over here. Looks like the Hellions are being driven back, and the SCVs gunned down over there in the left side of our screen.
Well, the Banshees are still being unbelievably valuable during this. These things have kept him alive basically the entire game. He's really focusing, on keeping those Banshees alive and utilizing the Marines, or rather the Blue Flame Hellions, to kill off any Marines. That's his game plan right now. But the thing is, Bomber is being cost efficient enough that this is a losing battle right now.
GuMiho moving out again. I'm always surprised. He's done this a few times where he moved out with his Hellions on the map like this. And, I mean, look, he can just make Marauders to gun all this stuff down. And once again, now coming over here, Bomber hitting hard over there at this expansion, wiping out these mules and SCVs.
That's right, but this counterattack is a little bit scary still. He's got a couple Thors in there. They deal damage very quickly.
Well,
and
it's also the Banshees. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he wants to keep these Banshees alive, and if he can keep them alive, they are at the absolute crux of this attack. Because there are so many Marauders that even with Banshees just pegging them, everything else on the ground is going to die.
Yeah, well, the thing is, he has turrets inside of his base, so I mean, again, the Banshees are going to keep other attacks from ever happening. But at the same time, like Bomber's now on 2 bases. What is it? Let me work a count. 69 to 29. GuMiho at 29 SCVs, guys.
Well, he is trying to fix that a little bit, getting quite a few SCVs right here. GuMiho isn't 100% dead. He's just like 90% dead right now. So
pretty much. Bombers handled this all very well. It's funny because we're now at almost 20 minutes. And I thought this game was going to not look exactly like this. Maybe unit makeup, sure, but I thought it was going to be a lot more bases, a lot more macro. Instead, it's been a lot more aggression on both sides.
That first big attack from Bomber did enough damage to give him the opening he needed. And GuMiho just has not been able to stabilize since then.
Well, we have more and more of Bomber's army moving out, and I think there might be maybe 1, 2... at most, I think 3 attacks away from wiping out GuMiho.
I feel like this one's going to do enough damage that GuMiho's going to perhaps GG. I mean, there's enough anti-air here. Those Banshees aren't going to last. There's not a lot of siege tanks. There's that's 4 now that he has.
Not even all in siege mode.
Yeah. Those Marauders they have too many hit points.
Well, I mean, it's the thing about when you have small numbers of Marauders against small numbers of mech.
Oh, yeah.
There's really not a lot that mech army can do. It's why you want to be maxed out or close to maxed out before you push out with mech.
And this is basically the end for GuMiho. He's actually lost his command center. He's still doing some harassment, which is nice, but yeah, that's it. And finally, these Banshees going to go down.
GG. Let's say that with the same level of enthusiasm, Martos. GG. GG.
Well, GuMiho was dead for quite a bit there, I have to say.
Yeah, he really was.
You know what? It's funny how one mistake, one misstep can avalanche, especially with mech. If he had gotten out that point defense drone, perhaps a little bit out of the Marine range, stopped enough concussive shells that perhaps that battle goes a little bit more in his favor, and maybe everything ends up looking a little bit different. But Bomber, he started chipping away early and often, and just gave himself openings where GuMiho was weak.
I think GuMiho could have done a lot better, had he just had proper defense and been prepared for that.
But he was.
But then again, in Bomber's credit, he shot down that Raven.
Yeah, he did. And Bomber made a lot of Marauders early on, which messed with the unit composition GuMiho was going with.
It was funny because he kept attacking in with a bunch of Marauders, even though there were Banshees still there.
Yeah.
And he was killing off the tanks and the Hellions. I mean, the tank count never got high enough.
Well, that's what matters. As you said before in the game, Tasteless, in small numbers, Bio beats mech. It's when it gets big that it doesn't. So anytime he can suicide some Marauders to kill off the siege tank count, 100%
Marauders and Marines are very expendable compared to something like, let's say, tanks or Vikings.
Yeah.
Which are simply not expendable.
Exactly.
All right, guys, we're going into game number 2. The map choice here for GuMiho is going to be Cloud Kingdom. How will Bomber play on this map? Not entirely sure. We're going to see, though. Here in Seoul, Korea, the best StarCraft 2 players in the world reside to battle it out over the #1 spot to be the champion of the GSL Code S.